Have you ever wondered why Islam, a religion that values kindness to all creatures, has specific rules about keeping dogs in homes? It's a question that often surprises people, because we know Islam emphasizes mercy towards animals. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself encouraged compassion and told stories of people being rewarded or punished based on how they treated animals. So why are there restrictions about dogs inside houses? Let's dive into the truth, based on authentic Islamic teachings. First, it's important to understand that in Islam, dogs are not hated creatures. They are part of Allah's creation, and Muslims are commanded to treat them with respect. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned a woman who entered hellfire because she mistreated a cat, and another person who was forgiven all their sins for giving water to a thirsty dog. These stories show clearly that cruelty to animals has no place in Islam, and kindness to them is a path to reward. But when it comes to dogs living inside homes, Islamic rulings are based on hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ. In Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said that angels do not enter a house where there is a dog or a picture. Another narration explains that whoever keeps a dog without a valid need, such as guarding livestock, crops, or hunting, will lose rewards from their good deeds every day. Scholars explain that this loss of reward is symbolic of the seriousness of ignoring the Prophet's command. One of the main reasons for this ruling is purity. In Islamic law, the saliva of dogs is considered najis, or impure. The Prophet ﷺ instructed that if a dog licks a vessel, it must be washed 7 times, one of them with earth. This teaching, found in Sahih Muslim, highlights how serious this impurity is. Because Muslims pray 5 times a day, often inside their homes, the presence of impurity can affect their worship. Cleanliness and purity are at the heart of Islamic practice, and the home is meant to be a pure place for prayer. Another reason scholars mention is spiritual. The hadith about angels not entering a home with a dog points to something deeper. Angels are seen as carriers of mercy and blessings, and their absence means a loss of spiritual goodness in that space. For Muslims, having a home filled with mercy and barakah, blessings, is extremely important, and they would not want to risk losing it by keeping a dog inside unnecessarily. However, Islam does allow keeping dogs when there is a clear benefit or need. Guard dogs for protecting property, sheep dogs for protecting livestock, or hunting dogs for providing food are all permitted. This balance shows that Islam is practical and not extreme. It doesn't forbid interaction with dogs completely, but it sets rules to ensure that spiritual and physical purity are preserved. It's also important to understand the wisdom behind these rulings. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, rabies and other diseases carried by dogs were common. The rules about avoiding their saliva and limiting their presence in homes may have also been a protection for people's health. Today, even modern science confirms that dog saliva can carry harmful bacteria. This shows that Islamic rulings are not random, but are rooted in wisdom that benefits both body and soul. Now, does this mean Muslims cannot love dogs? Not at all. Many Muslims care for stray dogs by feeding them, providing shelter, or treating them kindly. But instead of keeping them as pets inside the home like cats, the Islamic guideline is to keep them outdoors if needed, while still showing them compassion. Cats, on the other hand, are seen as pure animals, which is why they are allowed indoors freely. Some people ask, why the difference between dogs and cats? The answer lies in hadith. The Prophet ﷺ specifically said about cats that they are not impure, they mingle with you. This statement gave Muslims clarity. With dogs, however, the specific instructions about impurity and angels not entering a home created a different set of rules. In summary, the Islamic position on dogs is not about hate, but about balance. Dogs are respected as creatures of Allah, kindness toward them is rewarded, and using them for valid purposes is allowed. But keeping them inside homes as pets, without necessity, is discouraged because of impurity, the absence of angels, and the need to maintain spiritual and physical cleanliness. For Muslims, the home is not just a place to live. It's also a small mosque, where prayer happens every day. That's why maintaining its purity is so central. By following these teachings, Muslims believe they are protecting both their worship and their health, while still being kind to animals. So the next time you hear that Islam restricts dogs inside houses, remember, It's not rejection of the animal, but protection of faith, cleanliness, and blessings. Islam always seeks a balance, respecting the creation while prioritizing the creator.